Yeah, this video is about me and my family's trip to Arizona. We got to the airport super early in the morning so I could catch our flight, and the airport was actually pretty cool. I've never been in one before, so it's a cool experience. It took a long time to get in our seats, though. First plane takeoff went pretty well, and after a 4-hour flight, we finally landed in Arizona. The first place we went to was called Montezuma's Castle, and it was this really cool brick structure in a cliff face. It had 20 rooms and was built directly into the rocks, so it was pretty cool. Just driving through Arizona was actually one of my favorite parts of the trip, because you could be driving through a forest or a desert, and then, before you know it, bam, you're in the middle of a bunch of snow. This is crazy, snow in Arizona, it's like the desert state with the Grand Canyon and everything. So that was actually pretty cool. First time seeing snow all this year, so that's kind of crazy. We did a lot of driving the first day before getting into an Airbnb for the night. And the Airbnb was pretty cool because it was on this street with a bunch of houses, but it was in the middle of a desert. So it was really surreal to just look around and see a bunch of orange dirt and cliffs in the distance. The next place we went to was the Glen Canyon Dam. It's just this giant dam holding back a river, and it had this really cool bridge by it. Then we went to a place called Antelope Canyon, which is this canyon, and it has these really smooth, worn away walls that have been eroded by wind and water throughout the years. And I got some really cool pictures. Most of these have a filter on them to make the colors a little bit better, but it was still really awesome. Next place we went to was the Grand Canyon. I was really looking forward to this one, and it didn't disappoint. The Grand Canyon is really, really big, and it's just amazing. You can look out and it's just, there's so much of it, and it's really far down, and it goes it's miles. The other side's miles away from you. And fun fact, if you were to fall in, it would take you 27 seconds to reach the bottom. So interesting little tidbit there. It had this fountain place where you could get spring water from down in the Grand Canyon, so I had to fill up my bottle, and it tasted like water, so wasn't that great. Something really cool that happened though is these two baby elk just showed up out of nowhere and started eating the bushes, with all these people around too. It was crazy, and they're just chilling there, not even afraid at all. Next we went to this ruin called the Wupatki Pueblo. It was really cool. They had a bunch of diagrams around to show what the people would have done there, and I got some pretty cool pictures of all the rooms and stuff. And they actually had this really interesting thing there. It's called a blowhole, and it's just a hole in the ground that shoots out cold air. So that was really freaky. We drove through this place where all the dirt was black, and it was actually because there was a volcano that erupted almost 1,000 years ago and just covered the entire area with ash. And we got to walk to this place where there used to be a bunch of lava. It was a lava bed that dried up, and they had the trail going through, and all this black basalt around. It was really cool. We actually saw a whole herd of elk while we were driving, and we actually had to stop so we could let them pass. There were a ton of them too, just crossing the road. We went to Petrified Forest National Park, which has this area called the Painted Desert, which is just all these hills that are just that has all these bands of red and white and purple. It's just really scenic, and the weather was also really nice that day. Not too hot or cold or anything, a little bit of a breeze blowing. After driving for a little bit more, we got to the actual Petrified Forest part of it, which also had these really cool bands of dirt going through all the hills, but this actually had the petrified trees that have been turned into rocks. Then we went to Saguaro National Park, which has like all the bushes and cacti all around, and that was really cool. We just drove through there and did a few of the trails, I think. But some of the cacti get big, like really, really, really big. And after spending like 5 days in Arizona, it was time to hop back on the plane and come on back to Georgia. All in all, I think I'd give Arizona like a 9 out of 10 in terms of the state, taking away 1 point because if you weren't within like 100 yards of town, there was no phone service at all.